prime time on the top game, it's a fine line. Man in the match, that's Dave I. He's the main guy, keep it close eye. Make sure you don't make no wrong play, cause I'm with Jose and Andre. When Cyrus comes to walk in, you better know that you are watching Premier League. Dave I, tell what time we on. Prime time. Let me hear you say Premier League. Dave I, tell what time we on. Prime time.
Hello and welcome to Premier League Primetime Season 4, Episode 4. And I know he's missing again. We're wondering, where is Cyrus? Where is he? He will be here. He's running late. I know it's a miracle, but he will be here. But of course, as always, we are joined by Jose and Andre. All right, how are y'all doing? Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But no, lads. On a real note, right? How are we all doing now? On a real note. Okay, I just stumped myself there. All right, we're just gonna get right into this. We're gonna skip Arsenal until Sirius comes back, right? And we're just go straight into Aston Villa. Looking at Aston Villa's recent run of games, which largely look very, very good to me, in my opinion. But scores remains for Unai Emery and stand-up plays both on a negative and positive side of things. I'll throw this one out to the whole panel. What are we saying, lads?
Yeah, I would say been pretty good from them recently. I think the loss to Nottingham Forest is a bit disappointing, but otherwise pretty good. I'd probably point out the man who's been hitting them McGritty a lot recently, John McGinn, as one of their standout players. And then also I'd say Leon Bailey has been looking pretty good as well for them. So fairly well for them. I give them a B+, A-.
Yeah, Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. I think they've got 10 goals in their last 4 games, and that's including the loss. So they're definitely on the bounce. They're doing well. Yeah,
I agree, and I think a couple of that we have to point. I think we have to point out Douglas Luiz. I mean, let's look at the man's form as a recent. I mean, he has been in great form. He's been scoring goals. He looks like a proper modern day defensive midfielder, and he has been playing very, very well. Moussa Diaby as well, Baboukou Kamara, and of course Ollie Watkins. But I think we all just know at this point he's just going to just keep on firing in the goals as well. And any negatives to take away from Villa?
I mean, poor performance against Forest, but that's really all. That's all I would say.
That's very fair. Next, looking at Bournemouth and looking at their run against, which to be fair, right? It's not terrible. Looking at the results, looking at who they're playing against, it's not terrible. Very good one against Newcastle, I have to say. Scores remains for Andoni Iraola and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things.
Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
No, you go ahead first. I don't know exactly.
I was just going to say I was really impressed with their performance against Newcastle. I think that they played really well in the game, defended well, and got 2 goals that were well fought for. So I think off that game, I'd point out Solanke, but otherwise pretty good from them, despite their loss against City, which was pretty significant. But otherwise, I'd probably give them a B.
That's fair enough. And I think that's a point at Lloyd Kelly as well. He's picking up a lot of interest from the likes of, Tottenham Hotspur, Juventus, Inter. These aren't, nobody clubs that are interested in this player. So, and he's been putting in some good performance as a recent, and also Antoine Semenyo as well, providing a lot of crucial build up and attack for them as well. But I think there's an important question to throw out, with Bournemouth, right? And I was kind of throwing this out earlier. With this run of games, right, looking at just the improvement in performances, do you think this run of games will buy Iraola a little more time, where it looked like beforehand, it looked like he could have been on the receiving end of the sack with this run of games?
I think it should, and I think the uptick in form in some of their individuals should buy him more time. I think their attack has been clicking well, and then, like we said, Lloyd Kelly's keeping it really, really tight at the back. So I think he does. Personally, I think he does deserve more time. I don't think it's the time to sack him yet.
That's enough. And Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll buy him a little more time, but how much time that is, I don't know. I think it. I mean, we're looking at the team that sacked Gary O'Neill last season after how good of a job he did. So I think that they're gonna probably. I mean, it's like this will buy him maybe 4 or 5 more games, and then as soon as they lose to a bottom of the table side, like he's gonna be gone. I think for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Looking at Brentford and their running game, scores and ratings for Thomas Frank and Senna players with on a negative and positive side of things. For the whole panel.
I mean, they've looked quite good. Looks like they're returning to form. Great performances against Burnley and Chelsea, particularly. They managed to scrape the win against West Ham as well, which is very good. The Liverpool loss definitely is not. It was not their best showing. I'd probably point out Mavropanos has looked good for them.
Mavropanos.
Yeah, Mavropanos. Yeah.
Mate, he plays at West Ham, bro.
Oh, I'm stupid. No, I thought I was looking at the goal scorers in the games, and I saw him. So I figured he was playing center back for them and scored. So that's always very good, you know.
Joe Masterclass, everyone.
Joe Masterclass. But otherwise, Mbomo also looks good.
Of
I
course.
mean, Mape finally got a goal for them, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was waiting for Sears. Because I was going to ask because we all of us know Sears is assaults on Neo Mopai. You know, I was going to ask him, and this is why I want him to be here at this current moment because this would have been the perfect time to ask him. And I know he would absolutely love to see Neo Mopai, bag a goal against Arsenal. If they play Brentford, I know he absolutely would. But I think a couple other players to point. Matisse Janssen just keeps going from strength to strength. I'm gonna keep saying it, and everyone's gonna keep thinking. Dave, you say this all the time about Matisse Janssen. He's a proper box-to-box Regista number 8. He's a proper midfielder. And Nathan Collins as well, going from strength to strength. And Aaron Hickey, the Scottish fullback, just notably he had a very good performance against Chelsea. When they're playing that back five system, he is very, very, very good. He can play left wing back, he can play right wing back, he can play either side, and he still looks good, honestly. And question, if Ivan Toney goes, whether it's in January or the summer, how much will he be sold for?
I'd say 25, 30 million.
In today's market?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because he hasn't played in 8, 9 months, is it? Something like that?
Despite we know the quality that he has, do you think that he'll leave for that little amount? That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Andre, what do you think?
I was thinking at least like a 40, like I think somewhere around 40.
I heard Brentford were looking for around 60.
60. I don't think they're going to get 60. I think it'll be between.
I think maybe 50.
I mean, unless Man United paid it, but
well, yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, we'll pay 60 mil for anyone. We'll be paid 60 mil for Mount with the year left on his deal. So yeah, we'll pay that money for anyone. But we'll save the Man United talk for later because there's a lot to unpack for Manchester United. But moving into Brighton Munich, looking at their running games, and it's not been looking good. It looks like they've been falling off. I can't lie, man. Scores and ratings for Roberto De Zerbi and Senna players, both on a negative and positive side of things. Keyword, both negative and positive side of things.
I'd say he gets a positive because he said that thing about the refs and he hates 80% of them. That was definitely positive.
Yeah, I saw that.
I would agree.
That was good. He deserves a 10 just for that. No, it's I think Brighton. They are looking a little tired out. I mean, the Matoma doesn't look himself just because he's the new Pedri. He's playing so much, man. They're doing too much with him. I think they have the options to rotate more, but I feel like I don't feel like it's gelling exactly right. Where it's like because I think Brighton is supposed to be like the not mid-table, but kind of like a mid-table city where they just have like a lot of good players. Anyone can step in. And right now they're just falling a little short, but I will think they'll find their form.
Jose, what about you? What do you think about Brighton?
Yeah, I agree with Andre. I mean,
Kind of a mess.
they've been so good for so long. I mean, I think that they've also been playing the same players for so long. So I think it's only natural that they go kind of in and out of form. They've been in form for so long. So I think it's just a small rough patch. But I mean, to point out players who've been good, I would say Fati has still looked fairly good in my opinion in most games this season. Um, I would say maybe on a negative side, I know Mahmoud Dahoud got sent off in their recent match, in the match where Adingra scored. That was a really good goal, by the way, by Adingra in that game.
No, yeah, I agree with that, and I think that Lou stunk at the back. I think this is someone that we can always mention as well. Who's, he's getting more and more England call-ups, and deservedly so. I think that's on that we can look at, and I think that another question is to be asked that. The goalkeeper, I think there's a bit of a goalkeeper conundrum with Brighton at the moment when we look at Verbruggen and Steele. It seems as if they're like splitting games down the middle. And why do you think De Zerbi is not? He hasn't really identified who's his out and out number one. Is he still unsure about it, or do you think he's trying to split Europa League games and Premier League games? Like what do you think's going on with that?
Shit, I was reading stuff. What was the question?
Nice, thanks.
Once probably again, is. I mean, to respond quickly before David says that, I would say he probably is rotating between Europa League and Premier League, in my opinion. Yes.
No, fair enough, man. I think that's where they can go. I can't stop laughing. And Andre, I'm sorry you had that coming your way.
It's okay.
You had that you had that looking for you. Next, looking at Burnley and looking at their run of games, just continues to just go down. I can't lie. Scores remaining for Vincent Kompany and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things.
I mean, yeah, the results aren't good. On the other hand, I'm seeing nothing saying that or indicating that they're even considering sacking Kompany at this point. I'm just seeing stuff that they want to back him. They want to sign new players. They want to move his project forward, which is nice to see from a club. But yeah, I'd say manager rating, team form, whatever. I'd probably give it a 4. It's not looking great.
I think that's generous to be honest with you, but Jose, in your opinion, right? How long? At what point will Burnley wait until they just pull the trigger on Vincent Kompany? At what point?
Yeah, I want to just take it back to a few episodes ago where you asked me whether this playing style was sustainable, and I was not paying attention to the question, and I just said yes. And I want to just emphasize that if I had heard the question, I obviously would have said absolutely not. Kompany is a moron for playing the way he does. And I think that I don't know if he'll be sacked because they did so well in the championship. They might just go back down and then maybe come back up. But yeah, they're horrible. They're so easy to beat for any team. Even Man United could beat them.
No, we had a difficult time. Remember, we
had a difficult time against them, of course, because we're Man United, but we still managed to beat them. They're horrible. There's no I barely know any of the players who play for them. I Charlie Taylor was one of the only names on the team sheet I recognized in one of the last match days.
Well, James Trafford, I know he's young and he's up and coming. They brought him in from Man City, and he could have a good career ahead of him, but he's been looking shaky in goal. I've seen far too many errors, but he's at a young age, and I think he will pull through. But I think he seriously needs to fix up. He really is. He's been given the number one shirt by Kompany, and I think he needs to step up. On the other hand, a team that has been stepping up, one of Andre's absolute favorite teams in the Premier League in Chelsea, looking at their run of games. I'll not mention one of them in one of the matches. Scores and ratings for Andre's favorite ever manager, Mauricio Pochettino, and stand-up plays both on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely looking better. You can see the small changes are starting to pay off. I think for a long time their form was crap, but you could see that statistically they were up there with the best. So yeah, Poch has got him going. You can seriously tell the inexperience in that side still. I mean, they probably should have killed the game off against Tottenham multiple times, and they just weren't there yet. So it's just going to be a process. Sorry. Yeah, but statistically they're looking good, and now the results are starting to pay off. They haven't lost to like a huge side this season, I don't think. I'd say standout players. I think Gallagher's still bossing it in midfield. I think he's probably my favorite there.
Gallagher.
Yeah, I think he's looked.
Yeah, I think he's been good recently too.
No, yes.
I don't think they'd do it with him.
I think it's criminal how I think there's a certain player that hasn't been mentioned yet. And
I've been waiting for you to mention him.
No, I'm not talking about who you think I'm going to mention. I'm not talking about your star boy, Joe. I'm not.
He's been bad too. You just think he's been good.
No, I'm talking about Cole Palmer or Cold Palmer.
Oh, I love Cole Palmer. I think Cole Palmer's a really good player.
Let's talk about Cole Palmer. Let's talk about Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic against Man City. I think his runs into the box were amazing. He had one really good run where I wish he'd scored because it would have been a really good goal.
I watched him live, and
he has, and I mean the nerves on him as well to take a penalty in the last minute in that stadium against Man City.
He's been taking all the penalties since he's come in.
Yeah, he has four penalties, 4 goals scored this season, I believe.
He is the real deal. Like for me, he
really
is a real deal.
Great signing.
And Man City made $45 million off of this kid, and this shows that Man City are producing some absolute gems of players. Like Lavia came from their academy. Let's not forget that he went to Southampton from Man City. Jadon Sancho, he was a Man City product. We all know that. But best not to mention his name. I don't think Ten Hag would be too pleased with me if I did.
Also,
Palmer as well. Yeah.
No, I also think one thing that does excite me is I think like his decision to transfer, and right now it shows a lot of wisdom between just him and his team. I mean, it was the perfect time.
He could have stayed because Mara's left, and remember, like even with Doku coming in, he was going to play, but he said no, I want to leave.
Yeah,
he would have had a chance, but I mean, I think he just knew that a struggling side like Chelsea, he's going to play every single week, no matter what. At City, even if he plays well, he's going to be benched every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he left the Pep Roulette at a great time.
No, 100%, and this kid is going to be something special. And I think on the negative side, I think Robert Sanchez. I think we just need to. It's that Arsenal game just he cost them that game. Robert Sanchez. I don't know what he was doing with that Declan Rice scored, but just he absolutely cost them that game. And I know there's been this recent surge of form in Jackson and Joe.
I don't know about surge of form. I don't know about that. He was in the right place at the right time against City. That's for sure. But against Tottenham, he had probably the worst.
He's only doing it in the last 2 games. Like he scored. Yeah, he scored a hat trick against Tottenham. He did. But before that, like what had he been doing? Nothing.
No, but before that he was bad. And by the way, he was bad, and I think he was bad in the Tottenham game as well. Like he scored a hat trick and got what, like a 6.7 rating or something like that.
Yeah,
because he could have had about 7 goals in that game.
Which is further backing my point, which he could have scored more goals.
Yeah,
he scored against Man City, which he's scoring goals, but there's still things to be worked on. And I think Raheem Sterling had an absolutely amazing game against Man City. Joe, I'm sorry,
I would disagree with you on that.
He absolutely bossed that game.
He did not boss that game.
He was one of the best players. I haven't seen Sterling play like that in ages.
He scored a tap-in. What else did he do?
Bro, he was cooking on that left hand side, bro.
He was cooking, but couldn't get 4 goals were scored. He scored 1 tap-in.
No, but it's not just the G&A; it's the overall performance. So
of course it is.
He was cooking. He was cooking Kyle Walker, bro. He was. Come on, man. Like, yeah, bro. I'm not had to vouch for my guy Raheem in a long time, but nah, he was cooking that game. But to just go into another point, right? I think we should also talk about Thiago Silva, right? Mm-hmm. At one point, do we say, all right, he's 39 now. His time is done because he's, as I've said for ages, right? It just looks like he's just getting better with age. He's slowing down a little bit, but it doesn't look like
I think he's still great. I mean, he scored a really important goal against. I mean, probably if he doesn't score that goal, Chelsea's mentality doesn't change very much in the game. They probably get beaten 2 or 3-0 by City. I think he scored a really important goal at a good time, and that shows his character and class.
It definitely does. And lastly, before we move into Palace, Andre, just I'll throw this one out to you. Of course, we know that Romeo Lavia and Christopher Nkunku are injured, and they're looking to return after this international break. How do you think they will fit into the side? Who gets dropped from this team when those two return?
I mean, I'd say going back to Jackson, I think he's putting himself in the right places. I think that's coached, though. I think they're clearly instructing where to go. I think I'm not seeing much of the sort of striker instinct or just kind of like individual brilliance. So I think probably right then and there is when we'll see Nkunku come in.
Wait, hold on. He's here, everyone. He is here. Sirius has arrived. Sirius, my friend, how are we doing?
Yeah. I'm good.
I don't know where you are right now, but everyone.
Sorry, I'm walking a dog.
Nice.
So I can't turn my camera on, but I'm fully focused and ready, Devi.
Thanks. Thanks. Well, we will loop back around to Arsenal because we just finished up Chelsea, but we will loop back around to Arsenal. Serious, and I know there's absolutely no chance that you've seen the agenda for the show. So you know what? I'll just read it to you. Looking at the agenda for Arsenal and looking at their last 4 games, a 2-2 draw with Chelsea, a 5-0 win against Sheffield United, losing 1-0 to Newcastle, and winning 3-1 against Burnley. Scores and ratings from Mikel Arteta and stand-up players on the positive and negative side for you.
Yeah, pretty good. I'd say like A-, B+. I think had a poor beginning in that Chelsea game, but I think we truly showed our fight and our grit, and I think that's what we need in order to win the title. Came back from 2-0 down. I think that was pretty impressive. Standout players so far, definitely our 2 center backs, Saliba and Gabriel, have been just so consistent. It's so great that they're so young. Hopefully we'll be able to keep them for many years, and that's gonna, I feel like that's gonna be the main reason we win a title in the future. Other players that have stood out to me, I'd have to say Trossard. Big ups to him. I think last season we were deciding between Mudryk. Didn't decide to get him. Decided to get Trossard instead for way less, and he's proven to be a great signing for us.
Definitely, and I think Declan Rice can't be forgotten. I think in this
of course.
Where, especially in that game against Newcastle, I was watching that match and I was just thinking he's the only player on the pitch that can leave his head. He can leave that pitch with his head held high, because everyone just looked like they just dropped off. And I think we also have to talk about Nketiah and Havertz. I think Kai Havertz. I think we just all know at this point that he's not gonna thrive in this midfield role, and that if he's gonna play in that midfield role, it's he has to be playing in the Odegaard role. And I think every single one of us knows that he is not better than Martin Odegaard. I don't think there's
I think his performances have gotten a little better, but there's no end product with them. I think Arteta is glazing Havertz a lot, but that's okay. At least he's showing confidence in Havertz. As I said a couple of weeks ago, I'd give it a couple more games, but it's been a couple more games. As of recent, he hasn't played horrible, but we need more from him for sure. David, what are your opinions on Raya and Ramsdale? Who do you think's better?
I was actually going to be my next question. Actually, I was going to throw that question out to you. But it's a really interesting debate and conundrum to be seen here, and I'll throw this out to the rest of the panel as well. But I think with hearing Ramsdale and the way him and his father have been talking to the media, I just don't think that's the right thing to do. I think Ramsdale should have just not as much Ramsdale, but I don't think it's really his fault.
I think it's more his dad.
I think Ramsdale, he's doing the right thing. I can understand Ramsdale's disappointment that he was the main guy last season, going into this title race last season, and now he's just been dropped. And for a goalkeeper who, for all the things he can play out the back for, he can't seem to do some of the simple things that, when we look at Ramsdale, he was able to do. So to be honest, I don't know. For me, I just don't think Ramsdale ever really did anything to deserve to be dropped anyways, but that's just my opinion. But, we'll throw this out to the rest of the panel. So you're starting with you. Who would you prefer on goal and why?
It's so tough, right? Because it's kind of unfair. Because Ramsdale, he's a lot of, sure he made some mistakes last season, but he's also made some not title winning, he didn't win the title, but some, deciding winning saves that I think were super important. I personally think that the reason he got dropped was not because of his performances in the season. I think he had a poor preseason. And I think that's why Arteta brought in Raya for competition. But it's I don't know. I really do feel like Ramsdale is the better goalkeeper. I don't think buying Raya was at all a poor decision. I mean, we got him for a great deal, to be honest.
A loan deal, a very cheap loan deal.
So I don't think that was the issue. I really do think that Ramsdale needs another chance. But Dave, which one would you shag?
PLPT does not condone that sort of language, but I'll throw this one out to the rest of the panel. Andre, Joe, who would you go with and why?
I would say I would go with the man who doesn't wake up every morning and watch TikTok for 3 hours and lower his attention span so he can only pay attention for 15 minutes at a time. I'd probably go with Raya instead of the man who came out and told Ian Wright that he can't focus on a match for 90 minutes.
Oh no, Ramsdale's getting cooked.
But I think Ederson said that as well.
Ederson is the same way.
Yeah, Ederson said the same way.
Andre, who would you prefer?
It's a tough one because I guess I'd say Raya is the handsomer one, so I'd probably shag Raya.
Thank you for answering my
Ramsdale. But Ramsdale's still he's just I don't know. I just like Ramsdale better. No, I think it's a tough one because I think if you're asking me this season Raya or last season Ramsdale, I think I would go last season Ramsdale. But what's messed up is that they've totally messed up the balance. It felt like they had the perfect balance with what's his name? The American guy is back. I forget his name.
Matt Turner.
Yeah, Matt Turner back up, Aaron Ramsey. Like that just seemed like the balance in the goalkeeping camp was perfect. And now it feels like we're dealing with two off form goalies. Like they were both better last season, Ramsdale and Raya. So it's just I think the balance between the goalies is important, and I just feel like there's not much understanding there. But I think that's my answer. This season, Raya, but last year, if you can get Ramsdale back to those heights, then keep Ramsdale.
I also just want to say I think it's usually a bad idea when you have two good goalkeepers and neither is really solidified as the starter. Like I think it's always better to go into the season already knowing who's going to start and who's going to not and who's going to sit on the bench, because when you just magically drop a goalkeeper like Arteta did with Ramsdale after I don't even know how many matches, like 7 matches maybe, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the new goalkeeper, and then it also deflates the other one.
I think mentality is huge for keepers. I think they like being the main man and just doing better rather than having
because they can be relaxed.
It's very easy to make a mistake as a goalie, so you don't want to be like, oh, I'm on the brink of losing my spot.
No, you make a great point. You make a
and they're both still better than Onana.
That's so false. The thing is, that's not even true. Onana's been so good in the past few games. You don't even know. You haven't watched anything, clearly.
No, I have.
We'll say Man United talk for later because there's a lot to unpack with Man United later. But moving into Crystal Palace, looking at their past run of games, scores and ratings for Roy Hodgson and stand-up players on the negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, it hasn't looked very good recently. I'd point out Eze. Eze's been looking good. He's been scoring goals. I think he scored in 2 other games.
He's just come back from injury. He's just come back.
They were lost without Eze when he was injured, though.
Yeah, that's very true.
They were lost.
They couldn't create or score goals of any kind.
Yeah. I want to say he has 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 2 games, but yeah, he's been quite good recently.
No, I know Jordan Ayew scored a goal, Tyreek Mitchell scored a goal, but their strikers Mateta and Edouard, if they're not 6 yards away, them lot can't hit the target for their lives. Honestly, they can't. Just I've seen it so many times at this point. Just watching, match after match after match. There's no consistency with their form.
It's interesting that they have two strikers who play basically exactly the same way.
I mean, it's kind of Vieira's fault. I mean, I think they kind of would have cooked under Vieira if he had longer. I feel like we would have seen them better, but it's unfortunate they're out of. They don't look great. But I do think they were Vieira signings, and now they can't really. They're not Hodgson people.
Yeah, but anyways, the team has been looking actually fairly decent, but until now they've got a 12-point deduction. I think that brings them to the bottom of the Premier League. Everton have been cooking as of recent. They're 3 games unbeaten, a win against West Ham, a draw against Brighton, and a win against Crystal Palace, but only losing 2-0 to Liverpool, which there's no shame in losing to Liverpool. Scores and ratings for Sean Dyche and Sienna players on the negative and positive side of things. So I'll go to you on this one if we're able to come back.
Yeah, you want me to do Everton?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Serious, I think we've lost Serious here. I'll throw this one out to the rest of the panel.
there's definitely players that have done well, that are doing well.
Like
Wait,
who?
can you guys hear me?
Now
We couldn't until now.
Wait, actually, you can't hear me?
No,
I thought it was
we couldn't until now.
What was the last thing I said that you heard?
good players.
The last thing we said was that there have been some good players for Everton.
Oh, sorry. So what I was saying was, a lot of people thought they would, be relegated this season. But when you look on paper, there are some decent players. They just haven't been gelling well together. But as of recent, they've been a lot better. Personally, I don't think Ashley Young cuts it. Scored an own goal 2 games ago. He's just old. I really don't think there's any point to him. I think Decore has been one of their better players.
Mm-hmm.
Saved them last season with the winning goal. I think he's been probably one of the most consistent players. It's good that Gay got a goal. I think he needs to really pick it up. But he has been. I think Mikolenko has been good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think a big talking point we have to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's back and he's actually scoring goals, and he's actually not injured, which is a miracle in and of itself. I think that's hopefully for at least for the foreseeable future they can keep him fit, and then whether they sell him in, because I think he needs to be sold. He's not consistent enough. Because Josh only knows when he might next get injured, so you never know. Next, looking at Fulham, looking at their this past run of games, scores remaining for Marco Silva and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things. Those out to
kind of shit.
Yeah, pretty poor, but then again, they have had a difficult run of games. I mean, Man United, Tottenham, Brighton, and Villa are all teams that we would expect to beat them.
Yeah,
they did manage to draw against Brighton, but I mean, I'm struggling to name anyone who's really been standing out on a positive basis.
Other than João Palhinha, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, 2 stand-up performers of them last year have not been looking good. And Sirius's GOAT and also legend Willian hasn't been looking great either. So
yeah, he had a good season last season, but yeah, not this season.
Wait, Sirius. Speaking of your GOATs, right? We were talking about Brentford, and we need to come back to this. Thoughts on the Neil Maupay game-winning assist against Chelsea to seal Brentford that 2-0 victory.
Yeah, usually when Chelsea lose, I'm happy, but when he got the assist, I wanted to kill myself because he's a prat.
We love to see him back, everyone. We love to see Neil Maupay back. Next we have Liverpool, and they are cooking. This team is cooking, and it looks like it just keeps getting better and better. For the match against Luton, They're unbeaten in all competitions. Win against Everton, win against Forest, win against Brentford. Scores remaining for Jurgen Klopp and Stand Up on a negative and positive side of things. So throw this out to the whole panel.
I'd
Yeah,
probably have to say A minus.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I mean, yeah, they've been looking good. Like, I mean, their whole front line is scoring goals. Diaz, Salah, Nunez, Jota. That's definitely their strongest area of the pitch for me. But I think that their defense has been looking more solid. Trent has been looking more solid. So is Van Dijk. Van Dijk's looking almost back to his best, in my opinion. I think it's looking very good for Liverpool recently.
No, has, and I'll again, and I think we need to mention the midfield as well. Dominic Szoboszlai, he is just an absolutely incredible player. He's a great footballer, and I think this is someone that I think if Ralf Rangnick were still at Manchester United, I think that's a player that we would have signed in Szoboszlai. And I know Andre is gonna wax lyrical about how much he loves Szoboszlai. But you know what, Andre, I'll allow you to do right now.
I just want critics. Like I'm just such a scout. Like I've been on this guy since.
Yes, Andre, we know.
I just anybody in the world, if you asked me, I would have signed him like last year. No, I think Liverpool. I think if they sign a really competent number 6 in January, I think they're maybe. I'd say with City for just like my title contenders. I mean, I think they can go on a really good title run, like back in the day, Man City, Liverpool, neck and neck, if they just get a good number 6.
No, I agree with that because I was saying for ages, like McAllister can play there, but Jose, do you really think that Liverpool are getting the best out of McAllister playing?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's much better. He's much better going forward for me than playing as a DM. I think if they just sign a top class DM, they'll be like. Contenders, Champions League contenders, like they're on the brink of having an amazing team again.
Who do you guys think they'll sign then?
I don't know.
Honestly, like if they sent someone like Douglas Luiz, I think that'd be fantastic for them. I don't think they would or they can because that's to learn.
Do you think he's world class though?
Douglas Luiz? No. I don't think he's world class, but I think that's a player that.
Yeah, like I don't think Henderson was world class when they.
I think that's a player that can fit the system. He would fit the system that Klopp plays.
I feel like they should leave. I feel like they should leave England to sign whoever their 6 is. But I don't know.
That wouldn't be a bad shot. Their sporting director will probably find some Bundesliga gem and they'll find him and we'll sign him.
Yeah.
But I think something that we need to mention, of course, very happy for Luis Diaz and this whole and the father situation with him. So I'm very happy to see that. On a more serious note, I'm very happy to see that everything got sorted well with that. So on a rather serious note, very 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 happy to see that. And I think one question that I think again we're going to talk about. We talked about last season. We're going to talk about this season. Darwin Núñez, just this guy's not going to get a consistent run because he's just not consistent, right? And what do Liverpool do with him right now? Because they spent a lot of money on him, but he's not consistent enough. What do they do with him? Is he best off the bench now? Do they try and just play him into form? Like what do they do with Núñez? I
mean, I think that he's a good squad player at the very least. Obviously, that's not what you want for 100 million. But I think like this kind of play recently like really summed him up for me. It was he was played in with a long ball. He took a horrendous touch, and then I think this is in the Europa League. He took a horrendous touch, went out to the side to the left, and then he took a touch back in and he scored a ridiculously good goal. And I think that just perfectly sums him up. Like at one point he's going to miss a sitter, and at another point he's going to score a banger. So he's really hit or miss. I think he's a good bench player. He's done well historically when he's come off the bench for Liverpool, so I think that's his best place in the team for now.
No, I agree. Next, looking at Luton, and you know what? Luton have been slowly but surely turning things just a little bit, turning things a little bit around. Scores remaining for Rob Edwards and stand-up players with on a negative and positive side of things. I'll throw this one out to the whole panel.
Okay. Sorry, back.
Nice. I'll throw this one out to the whole panel. Luton.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
It's looking better. To be fair to them, it's been looking better.
Yeah, it's been I I feel like they'll keep getting better, but it'll be too little, too late. Maybe they'll finish like 18th.
Maybe. But well, all this sickness one. You know what? Like, big up to Heath Chong as well from former Man United product scoring against the Scouts with Liverpool. Ross Barkley's been looking better. Tom Lockyer is still not looking himself. I just think he's just a championship player, and there's nothing wrong with that. But not all championship players can hack it in the Premier League, and that's just as simple as that. Who knows whether this will galvanize Luton or not? Maybe it will, maybe they won't. Probably not. But you know what? It's a good run of games. That they only lost 1-0 to Man United, but you know what? Losing 1-0 to a team that's awful. Honestly, I'm expecting more from Luton. No, I'm joking, but who knows? Who knows what's to come from Luton in the next run of games? Looking at Man City, I think we all know with Man City, 3 wins, 1 draw. Scores remains for Pep Guardiola, and Santa puts on the negative and positive side of things. Sirius, I will go over to you.
Yeah, it's like Man City, right? Probably one of the most consistent teams in the league. Probably going to win it again, I'd say, unless anyone has a different opinion. Got to mention Haaland again. Probably wants to win the Ballon d'Or next year. Unfortunately, the GOAT won it. What a game! What a game against Chelsea. I think if you could say one negative thing is that you're letting Raheem Sterling cook your team, which is unfortunate.
Jose was probably definitely not happy with that. And thank you, Sirius, for at least saying that Sterling in that match was at least cooking Chelsea, because Jose was not having it.
No, he definitely was cooking against his former team. That's probably why I wanted to get some revenge. But always have to big ups to Rodri, because Rodri always scores in the big games. I think he's probably the best CDM, I'd say, in the world right now. There's a lot to say. I also really rate Alvarez. I think whether he starts, whether he doesn't, I think he's been great this season, getting assists even when he doesn't score, putting an impact in the game. That's really all to say. I think Akanji's also been good. It's interesting to see the contrast between Doku and Grealish. I think Grealish had a better season, but I think right now he's being outclassed by the other wingers.
I think that's a point that I was going to actually go into next, was this whole Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish. Just on a footballing scale of things, from just purely as a footballer, right? Who do you think is best for Man City right now, starting just week in, week out, or does it really depend who they're going up against? Right?
I think it kind of depends. The difference is, Doku's fast. Grealish is more technical. He's gonna, whipping those crosses. Technique's a little better, but he's really just a menace. But Reece James really shut him out, and I think for the first time this season, Doku didn't have a good game because of Reece James.
No, but there's really no shame in being pocketed by one of the best right backs in the league, maybe in the world, in Reece James. Jose, you're shaking your head there a bit.
Yeah, Grealish is not good. I'm sorry. He was fine last season, but he's done absolutely nothing for them this season. I think he's scored 1 goal, 1 assist, something like that. He's done absolutely nothing. Doku is, on the other hand, putting up 4 assists in 1 game. There's not even a question in my head of who's better.
But is it just, and I'm not necessarily vouching for Grealish, but is it in a sense that you're looking at the whole just from the G&A side of things, rather than when we watch a game of football and
Grealish can have 15 dribbles in a game if he wants, but Doku's 4 assists are gonna win his team the game.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's definitely one way to look at it.
I think
direct. He's a very direct player, and Doku. I just don't feel like there's not. He's very direct. He will take players on, but I think other than that, there's not a whole lot else with Doku. And I'm not saying I prefer Grealish. I'm just saying from what I've seen, and there could be more to see from Doku, but as from what I've seen right now,
I'm a big fan of Doku. I think he's a really good player, regardless of his goals and assists.
No, I think he's a good player as well. I just think that as the media will always do, they will gas players up to the point where like no one really
English players usually.
English players usually, but they're doing it with Doku as well, and it's just like, and they're doing it with Cole Palmer right now. It's just like, let the kid play.
Yeah, he deserves it.
No, he does, but it's also just like, like they did it with Saka, they're doing it with Bellingham, and it's just like, just let them do their thing. And then when it gets to the point where you can gas them up, then you can do it. But they just do that this thing way too much. But I think one last point to talk about with Man City. When Kevin De Bruyne returns, does he go straight into this Man City team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even without De Bruyne, like Alvarez has been in that role and he's been doing very, very well.
Well, yeah, but he does very different things to De Bruyne. And I think you can play Alvarez and De Bruyne on the same team.
But what about Bernardo? What about
Bernardo goes on the right, Doku on the left.
No one understands that no one understands that Pep system better than De Bruyne right now.
That's very true. That's very, very true. But anyways, next, all right, Manchester United. There's so much to talk about. There really is a lot. A big mess for us, Jose, right now. But you know what? Maybe a glimmer of hope with the recent structure changes. But all right, Jose, you and I on this one. Scores and ratings for Eric Ten Hag and Senna players, both on a negative and positive side of things. Here we go.
Yeah, I think Ten Hag's been poor recently. I don't think he's done very well. I haven't agreed with some of his decisions. I don't like the decision to drop Varane. I know Maguire's been playing well, but Varane is still a better player. I disagree with a lot of things Ten Hag has done. Obviously, I'm not Ten Hag out. I love Ten Hag, and I want to keep him. But I think that we've not really been looking better. Like, we got lucky against Fulham, in my opinion. We deserved the win against Luton, but how can we not beat Luton? We were terrible against City. Except in
United was the same as all.
In the opening minutes against City, I think we were good. But then the penalty went in, and we just crumbled because we lack any kind of good mentality whatsoever. Against Sheffield United, we were lucky as well with McTominay. Or was that? No, that was Brentford. Sorry, we were lucky.
No, it was McTominay and Diogo Dalot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, McTominay and Dalot. We got lucky with Dalot's goal at the end. It was a good goal, but I mean, like, I'll give Ten Hag like a B because we've won a lot of games, but he hasn't played very well, or he hasn't put his team out very well, or done the tactics right, in my opinion, recently. A lot of people have been saying they can't see how we play, and I agree. I can't really see that, but I also think that we have a lot of players out, so I think that once those players come back in, we'll be able to see that again, like we could last season.
I agree to that to a certain point, but I think it'd be very generous in the way we've been playing. From the way we've been performing, these horrible in the nicest way possible, horrid, shocking performances that I've had to see week in, week out from this Man United side. I have very little confidence we will advance out of our group. I have very little confidence that I will see a substantial change in the way we play. And I think there are a lot of, I think the only consistent positive that we could say when he's been playing has been Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And maybe Onana's of recent, maybe Maguire's of recent, but Marcus Rashford still. Højlund still struggling. Anthony, don't get me started on Anthony. Absolute waste of money. Get this guy out of here. Bruno does what Bruno does best. Goes missing in all the big games, and this guy's our captain. Absolutely.
No, Bruno's a good player. I don't agree with you on that.
Where is he in the big games? Where is he?
Well, where is anyone in the big games?
That's very true. But this is the captain, and you're supposed to lead by example. If you're not leading by your performance, at least lead by your example. You don't always have to moan at everyone. Like you're a captain. Bring everyone together. Not like where's the captain that we saw last season? And on Ten Hag, right? And I know a lot of you have seen that. For me, I just don't see how Ten Hag can turn this around. Like, if he turns it around, fair enough. I will hold my hands up right now, and any one of you can clip it and can clip this and say, hey, you know what? Hey, I'll hold my hands up. Ten Hag has turned this around, and I'll give him the credit for it. But just here's the thing, right? Like, as we mentioned earlier, he's dropping Varane for Evans and Maguire, saying it's for tactical reasons. He spent 150 million on Mount and Anthony, and he doesn't start either in the Manchester derby. He brought in Amrabat on loan. Well, true, but he brought Amrabat in on loan, and when the club clearly didn't want him, but he brought him in anyways. And
he's been shit too.
He's leaving him on the bench. He got rid of Fred and Sabitzer to bring in Mount and Amrabat. He says he can't play the Ajax style of football, and he's brought in 8 signings to try and play that style, which is why we brought Ten Hag in the first place. And he's persisting with Anthony and Bruno and Rashford as they continue to stink out the pitch every single week and not dropping them. He's leaving Rasmus Højlund in his system where he is exposed and hung out to dry. He's playing Lindelof as an inverted left back when he was crying out for left back. We brought Reguilon in, and even when he's been fit and available, he still plays Lindelof. He's still been playing, Lindelof as a left back at times. So I just or Diogo Dalot, like I just don't see like what he's doing, right?
Dalot is terrible. Like he's so bad.
I don't think Diogo's a terrible player. I think in a better
he's so
season
bad.
we'll see a better player.
So
We
bad.
saw how good he was last season. We saw how good he can be. When he's playing as a right back, he could play left back, but in the system that we're playing right now, it's not really working for him. And I think these are things that we have to look at Ten Hag, and his man management has been poor as well, if we just being totally honest about things. But a good idea, Andre. I'm gonna go to you on this one, right? Like, in your opinion, right? Do you think Ten Hag has to take some sort of a blame for this? And if not, or if yes, like, what do you think are the main issues going on at Manchester United? We know the owners and all that behind the pitch, but right on the pitch right now, what on earth is going wrong?
I just think I think, but even before you guys appointed him, I could just tell, like, as a person, I don't think he has the sort of charisma that a couple of other managers have with their players. I don't know. I feel like I just don't think he's bonded with some of his players the way that some of our other very great managers in the league right now. I think of Thomas Frank, Poch. I don't think he has that. On the other hand, they're playing for Manchester United. That shouldn't be that big of a deal. I don't think Fergie was like that either. So it's just I think he's misspoken a lot, and I think there's been just so many miscommunications. I just think there's a lot of babiness in the locker room. I think also United have no other choice but to kind of back Ten Hag right now. I just feel like if I'm a coach, I'm kind of terrified to take that Man United job just because it's ruined so much stuff. I don't know. I think just if Man United can get some professionalism in the locker room, listen to the manager. I think the results and the uptick in form will come. But it's just professionalism right now. There's got to be less. It's got to be less emotional. I don't know.
No, and I think that's a good point. And you have 2 players in 2 of the most experienced players in the past, and 2 of the most or 2 players that have won, almost everything in football, in Casemiro and Varane, and it just looks like he's falling out with both of them. And Varane seems like the kind of person that he's seems pretty happy-go-lucky. He seems very professional. And I know Jose would surely know about Casemiro and Varane from their times at Real Madrid, and very professional. They have that winning mentality about them. And I think if you're falling out with players like Casemiro, Varane, I think that I think questions need to be asked as well.
I don't think he's falling out with them, though. I think that he's doing what he believes is the right thing in saying that, look, Maguire and Evans have played better, in his opinion, than they have this season. So, therefore, they get dropped. But then when you're that kind of player and you're Varane and you're in such a struggling team and you've played so well in your entire career, when you get dropped, that offends you. So then that's where the problems arise, in my opinion.
But saying that you drop Varane for tactical reasons,
that's what I'm saying, yeah. Like he clearly thinks that Maguire and Evans have played better than Varane this season, or that Maguire and Varane don't play well together, and he wants to reward Maguire for how well he's been playing this season.
But that's why that shouldn't even be that big of a problem. Ten Hag's not a likable guy, easily. I don't think he is. Even just the way he was talking that press conference, tactical reasons. Even the press was really, whatever. I don't know. But Varane, I mean, this is an experienced guy. Of course, it's gonna be a little offensive if you get dropped. But if you're, it shouldn't.
A little. For Maguire and Evans, a little.
Yeah, but still, a professional player does what his manager does. If Fergie dropped Nemanja Vidic would have stayed fucking quiet.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It shouldn't. Yes, you can be a little. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You got to sacrifice those things for the better of the team. Right? That shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like that's sort of the problem, and maybe it isn't. I honestly feel like there's a lot of media sensationalism at United. It's the most scrutinized club in the world. It's crazy.
No, it absolutely is. And serious. We'll bring you in as well. What are your thoughts about just the shambles going on at Man United? Just like what in your opinion is the main thing that's going wrong right now?
It's tough, right? Because I don't think Ten Hag's a bad manager by any means. It is interesting to see that. I don't know if he's necessarily fallen out with Varane, but it's interesting to see the whole Sancho deal compared to other managers. I don't think this is all his fault. I think there's a lot of other factors that has to do with this. I think it's a lot of the players. I think a lot of them that I think some of them that he signed, I think this is where it is his fault. They don't have the passion. They don't have the dedication. I think a lot of these players don't. I'm not talking about like Johnny Evans and Maguire. I think they actually do. But are they good enough for this club? No. I think you guys have also been super unlucky when it comes to injuries. I think that's been a big factor. I think players like Rashford, who for example, Rashford, like complaining on social media, doing things that he shouldn't. Like, I think that's like a big part. That's like one of your players that's been there forever. I think it's a bad look. So I don't think it's completely on Ten Hag, to be honest. I think that, you saw what happened with Ole, things like that. I think it comes down to the players.
No, yeah, that's a very good point. But I'd say that with Ole, I'd say the one thing that I would see with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that when he left, most of that dressing room, as a coach, he was just weak mentally. He was not a good manager. He had no tactics whatsoever. But I think with Ten Hag, it's that, and to a certain extent, yes, these players have to take a huge portion of the blame, and they're not getting away from this at all. Absolutely not. No, this is not all in Ten Hag. Just I'll make that very clear. These players have a huge amount of explaining to do how poor he's been this season. I think that there are a lot of problems that need to be fixing, but I believe that these problems can be fixed because recently, of course, Richard Arnold has left Manchester United. We got to start somewhere, Jose. We got to start somewhere, and getting all these guys out and getting rid of all of them. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the anticipated takeover for that 25% is coming in. It looks like rumored to be Paul Mitchell and Jean-Claude Blanc are going to replace John Murtough and Richard Arnold. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's just I'm glad Arnold is gone, but why did we get rid of him and put a temporary one in? Like, why didn't we just have one ready and take him out? Like why didn't he just, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't we just wait 2 months and take him out in 2 months and put the real guy in there? Like, I don't know why we would need to have a temporary guy. It's very strange. But I'm glad things are changing. I'm hoping that Sir Jim knows a thing or two more than the Glazers about how to run a football club, and that the Glazers actually back him and support him. That'd be ideal. That's really all I have to say about it so far.
Yeah, we need a director of football so badly, and well, I'll say this right now: when Ten Hag came in and Ralf Rangnick left, my optimism left with Ralf. It left with Ralf because he was going to go upstairs and do a lot of these signings and help us with our summer transfer window. And when he left, I knew it was looking big for us. But next, moving away from Man United into Newcastle, and they're falling off a bit as well. Scores and ratings for Eddie Howe and Santa Pose on a negative and positive side of things. Andre, I'll throw this one out to you. Andre?
I think he went to the loo.
Nice. Sirius, I'll throw this one out to you. Done.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, Newcastle have also had a lot of injuries. I don't know if you saw the interaction with Trippier and the fans there. So you can't blame them too much, but you can't lose 2-0 against Bournemouth and have Solanke score 2 goals against you. That's it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I think I don't know. I kind of do wish that Willock had more of an impact like he did a couple of years ago with this side. I don't know if I really rate Lascelles these days either. There's definitely some
He's been
players.
doing fairly well as of recent, though.
I know, but I don't know if I rate him like that. They did beat Arsenal. They did beat us. That's pretty good. Had some success against PSG in the Champions League, but
Speaking of that match, Jorginho as captain. Any thoughts on that?
that made me want to kill myself. But yeah, a couple games ago, Callum Wilson had two. Just injuries are a big thing with him. Gordon getting a goal or two. I think Bruno Guimaraes has been solid all season. I'd say that for sure. It does suck with the whole betting situation with Tonali. That was a player that I thought was a quality signing, and now it's that's all up in the air. So we'll see what happens there. I think they really do need him. Him and Guimaraes is a great 8 pairing, 6 and 8 or whatever, 8 and 8.
Botman's out as well. Dan Burn is out as well.
Yeah, just the injuries are a big problem right now, but you still can't be losing 2-0 against Bournemouth if you want any hopes of getting Champions League again.
No, you make a good point. You make a very good point, regardless of the injuries. At this, when you're looking at Newcastle now, you're in this you're in this big 6, big 7, and you can't be dropping points to teams like Bournemouth. You're moving it. You're slowly moving into the big boy bracket of football clubs. And let's go even before this. Let's not forget. Newcastle they're a big club. They are a very, very, very big club historically as well. And, these fans have wanted to see their club and been waiting for a long, 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 long time to see their club back, to be back where they are now. I think Anthony Gordon is one of the positives in this run of games, you can say. Sean Longstaff as well. Joe, I know you now know a thing about Sean Longstaff. He's been actually looking very, very well, too. Joe, in your opinion, do you think Newcastle need reinforcements to be able to maintain?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Do you think they'll make it out of the group, though? Do you think they'll make it out of the group?
No. I think I don't want to pick that, actually. I don't know. But I don't think that they will. I think that they probably have one match left at St. James's Park. There are 2 match days left, so.
Oh yeah, yes, good point. Yeah, they have one at St. James's and one at PSG.
Yeah, so that's gonna be tough. I mean, the only match they won was against PSG at home, and obviously that was a great performance. But they haven't looked as good at all away from home, especially in the Champions League. Yeah, they definitely need reinforcements. I think that there's they were really overperforming, I think, for a long time, which we were praising them for, rightly so. But I think that recently they've had a few injuries, and it's really shown how few good players they actually have. Which is kind of surprising because of how well they were playing. But when you look past, if you take Guimaraes and Tonali out of that midfield, they have Joe Ellington. He can't do it by himself, obviously. Then they have to start Joe Willock, and that's not ever going to win you a Champions League match. So I think that they have a very small group of good players, and I think that they need to definitely bring in some more reinforcements. But it's a process. They were only bought 2 years ago now, so.
Mm-hmm. No, of course, and that's normal, and they'll get there at some point. I just don't think it'll be now. Next, going into Nottingham Forest and looking at their past run of games. Andre, I don't know if you're back, but is he back? No, probably not. Okay, great. But let's see. I'll throw this one out to you. Scores remaining for Nottingham Forest, looking at their past run of games. A draw to Luton, losing 3-0 to Liverpool, winning 2-0 against Aston Villa, and losing 3-2 to West Ham. Scores and ratings for Steve Cooper and standout players, both on the negative and positive side of things. If he's here. Okay, Joe, I'll just throw this one to you because it looks like both of them have gone Bruno in the big games, so I guess I'll throw that to you now.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, it hasn't looked that good. They haven't had an easy run of games. Or sorry, I was looking at the wrong team. Yeah, it still hasn't looked good. They haven't looked. I mean, the win against Villa was very impressive, I will say. Villa looked really good, and to beat them was very impressive. But a draw against Luton is a very bad result. And then 2 losses against Liverpool and West Ham. Not the easiest games, but certainly I think they could have done better against Liverpool, definitely. Standout players, I would go. I mean, I can always say my man Taiwo, doing everything by himself up front. But otherwise, maybe Ilenga has looked okay.
No, yes.
Yeah,
Anthony Alanga, and who would have figured that player that we sold for 15 million has now scored more goals than Anthony has now this season. I think anyone could have figured that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think Chris Wood has been. I think he bagged 2 goals as well, but he's now injured. I'd say Matt Turner's form has dropped off a bit. But I think other than that, do you think that the style of football for them is sustainable right now?
I mean, no. I think when I look at Nottingham Forest, I look at an easy win. I think that I think that their style of play is not very intelligent in the Premier League for the quality of players that they have.
That's fair enough. Next, looking at Sheffield United and looking at their past running games, just, again, not horrible, not great. Scores and ratings for Paul Heckingbottom and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things. Seriously, if you're here, I'll throw this one to you.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So Sheffield United, not a bad result, I'd say, against Brighton. I think Brighton's a good team. Obviously we beat them 5-0, but they've had a hard schedule. Losing to Man U 2-1, I don't think that's really an awful result. I think the games like against Wolves are games that they need to win, and they did. So I guess you could say that was impressive. I guess Archer's been decent. I think Brewster's pretty heinous, if I'm being honest. I don't really rate him.
I'd agree with that.
He's not. They signed him for what, 30-something million or something like that? Rhian Brewster, 30 million from Liverpool.
Yeah, overall, it seems like they struggle with goals. I think that is something that they do need to worry about. Seems like a lot of their goals come from own goals or penalties, at least in the last couple of games. So I think that's a little bit worrying for them. Especially in games where they need to win against lower side teams.
No, yeah, I think that's going to be a huge worry for them. And how much longer do you think Paul Heckingbottom has until he's just going to be sacked? I mean, how much longer does he have? Or do you think he will somehow stay in the job?
Like, I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, they have some interesting games. They're playing against Bournemouth and Burnley. I really do think that if they lose both games, he might be in trouble.
That's fair enough. And next, we're going on to the team that I've been hearing all over London say we are going to win the league. Not you, Andre, because you're not shameless. I've been hearing from all these lot for weeks on end. We're in the title race. We're going to win the league. We're unbeaten and top of the table. And all I have to say for these past 2 results is hold that Tottenham Hotspur. And no, not you, Andre, because you're not shameless. You're not a shameless individual. But I have been living in and amongst these lot. And I am sick and tired of hearing their shameless supporters. So, Tottenham Hotspur, now, looking at their past running games, and Andre, I'm so sorry to do that to you. Scores and ratings for the Australian Bielsa, Ange Postecoglou, and standout players on a negative and positive side of things.
Australian Bielsa, wow, oh my god. At least Ole had hair. Oh my god, wow. All right.
Well, I love the Australian Bielsa. That's brilliant.
No.
The high line.
Yes, I got it.
You hold that, but he's going to be the Australian Fergie. That's what he's going to be. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's going to be a Premier League legend by the time he's done with this league.
Okay. Anyways, what are we saying for these past? I went to that Fulham game, by the way, and that was some of the best football that I've seen all season from any team. But I'm not sure if we'll be seeing that football for a little while now.
I mean, look, I'd probably still give Ange like a 7. He's been dealt horrible circumstances. We all knew that our starting 11 was obviously strong, and there was some hope that with 1 game a week we could avoid the injuries and whatnot, suspensions. But this is a part of football; it's inevitable. So as soon as that happened, we're out.
I think, and for it to all happen in 1 game against Chelsea, that's just
that's where you can probably say one criticism. I mean, because it clearly would have been. I think it would have been pretty easy to contain like our excitement, but the team just got so eager. I mean, we were cooking them 15 minutes, and then we just got emotional about it for no reason. There was no professionalism in the game, and we ended up until the end, I guess. But we honestly, I think could have won the game even with 10 men. I think if we just put on Davies or something. But anyway, they got way too hyped, which I think Ange likes anyway. But if you're talking about that result, I feel like he should have calmed them down, just kept them professional. I think we're not looking good with it with the injury crisis coming. Matters not back till New Year's is just like okay, so we're not going to be good until New Year's.
Van de Ven is he'll be out till I think February.
Seems to be seriously coming back sooner. I mean, he hasn't been in whatever the.
No, I heard it's grade 3. His hamstrings are grade 3, and that's.
He's been. That's. I mean, initially that's what everyone thought, but he's been walking. He's been fine. It's not nearly as bad as initially feared. I think he honestly could be back before.
Even when he recovers, like we all know, and we've seen how good he is in regards to his recovery pace, and. With the hamstring injury, that's never going to be the same. Or no, never say never, but it's very likely that it will not be the same.
It's gotta take time. We've got to roll him back in slowly, and we do not have the squad depth for that at all. We've got to sign a defender for sure in January. We've got to sign backups. We have no backups. I mean, Jesus Christ, look how good our lineup went to totally shit in a matter of a game or two.
They're playing Dyer and Davies in a high line against Chelsea. I don't know how.
That's why our backup left back is Emerson. It's just like stupid. I'd probably give the team like a 5-4.
And Heung-min Son's been going missing as of recent. I haven't seen him the last 2 games. Madison, Bissouma, Van de Ven, that spine of the team, that spine is out, and that is Bissouma suspended. Christian Romero, I'm gonna say this right now on Christian Romero. I have been saying it about this guy, Christian Romero, and everyone's saying he's one of the best in the world because Lionel Messi said so.
He is.
What are you talking about, Christian Romero? But I've heard some Tottenham fans say, or not you, but in and around here, that Romero is better than Varane. What are you on? I've heard some of them say that he's better than Lissandro.
He is.
Do you watch football?
He's definitely better than Lissandro.
No, he's not. He's not better than Lissandro. On the ball, he's not.
I think they're both mid.
He's much more rational than Lissandro. He's not better than Lissandro. I'm sorry, bro.
He's
Romero. The issue about Romero is he could be very class, but he just he goes in too much. He's too aggressive. He's too rash. I think the World Cup he was world class. I think him and Otamendi together they were world class, but I think that was just because they wanted it so bad.
I mean, that's why he's only, I think, 25 maybe? I was going to say 24. I think 24, 25. He's still got time in his career to sort of kind of smoothen that part of his game out. But if you're talking about a defender with the ability and it's just his mentality and those little moments that needs to change for him to be world-class, that's huge. I mean, he's linked with a huge move to Real Madrid right now. I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Romero?
Yeah. Romero.
You think Real Madrid are going to sign Christian Romero?
I think they would be interested, yeah.
They signed Lissandro before.
Exactly.
I love the way Joe's attention.
Them signing Romero is like when Barca signed Alex Song.
Seriously? Okay, never mind then.
Really?
I think he's a perfect target for him.
But for Real Madrid? No.
I think so. Yeah.
No.
But why would Real need him?
I think he's got maturing to do, but I think he'd be.
No.
Yelling well there.
No. they have the likes of Eder Militao, Antonio Rudiger, David Alaba, and he is nowhere near any of them. I'm sorry.
I get
What?
excited
Really?
when Arsenal plays Tottenham because I know that he's gonna give up something.
And
When
like
it's the height of the moment, he always falters.
How old was Rudiger when he made his move to Real?
Like 28.
28.
28. So
Rudiger
I mean,
is good. He's a good
Rudiger
player.
at 24, 25 was not as accomplished as my boy Romero. There, he's
The only reason Romero is accomplished is because of Messi.
No, the only reason Messi's accomplished is because of Romero. And what's his name?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm with
my
Andre on that one. That's
Andre,
Oh my days.
Andre, I'm doing
Mar-
everything I can in my power to just not.
Martinez, Romero, these players put the balls in Argentina. They made the nice boy Messi an asshole, and they finally won something. I totally think I don't know. I think in a few years, I think Romero totally has the capacity to mature and outplay the likes of Lisandro and beyond.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, no.
We'll see.
I'm sorry, but no, no.
Where do you okay? Because I see Romero's ceiling I see his ceiling at one of the best clubs in the world. Do you think his ceiling is Tottenham?
I'd say Gabriel is 30 times better than Romero.
And here's the thing and I have another thing, right? Looking at Romero last season, yes, I know he was playing with Dyer and Davies and Longley, but the one thing that you can say is that when you have a good center back, he at least makes the other center backs around them don't look as shit.
Well, I don't know about that.
Everything is coming.
When Varane and Maguire play together, you can still tell Maguire's shit.
Like exactly, but like you see when Van de Ven came in, he's made Romero look better. He's made the midfielders feel less stressed. He's made Porro look better. He's made Udogie.
The way you're making it sound, you're making it sound is you rate Van de Ven more than Romero right now. Is that true?
I 100% do.
I do.
I 100% do. He's a higher ceiling than Romero does. I'm sorry, he does. Like when I look at Van de Ven, he reminds me very much of a younger Varane. He very much does. I don't know.
Too bad Varane's now an injury-prone twat.
Yeah, that is a shame actually. I agree. Like he's not reliable. We're gonna need a new center back.
No, yeah, we will.
We can't rely on him at all.
Do you think it has something? Do you think because Real Madrid, he didn't have that many injury issues. He was pretty consistent.
In the last 2 years, he did though. Like in the season that before he went, he was going out for 2 months. I think he went out for like 2 months, like 3 times in that season. And I think Papa Flo just knew that he's at the end of his days as for playing a long time. And nowadays, he's always complaining about how long the seasons are and how many games you have to play because it causes injuries.
Papa Flo. But
Dave,
no, I mean,
you can be my Papa.
Nice. But anyways, I think a point that we need to talk about is we have to talk about that. We need to talk about that Brazilian pigeon, Richarlison. He's out injured for a long period of time. Will Ange find a way to fit him into his system, or do you think that they're just going to have to cut losses at some point?
I think we do have to cut losses to move forward. I think eventually. I don't know if it'll happen. Maybe at the end of this season. Just sell him to Saudi. There's been a lot of links there, but I don't know if he'd do it. I like his mentality. But as soon as we signed him, I already thought that I don't know. I don't think there's a good enough quality for to help Tottenham out. I'm glad that I'm not going to see him in the team right now. That's all I'm going to say.
And you know what? Fair enough, man. But and anyways, leaving Tottenham and now going into West Ham. Looking at their past run of games, Sears, I'll throw this one to you. Scores remains for David Moyes and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things. Or if not, Saga, Jose, I'll throw this one out to you. Oh wait, okay, yes, we can hear you, Saga. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I would say pretty good, to be honest. Not that bad. Losing against Everton's a little bit poor, but they beat us in the round of 16. I know it's not Premier League, but that was pretty impressive. Also winning in their Europa League. They beat Nottingham Forest 3-2. I I think Paqueta has been, I think I was always last season saying, oh, Paqueta hasn't been great. They signed him,
You were.
Team player. And, he's been good. He's been good. He's been very good. As of recent, he's been good. Losing to Brentford is not great. I think Bowen's been decent. Bowen's been getting goals. I think he was really good last season too. I think he's one of their better players for sure. But yeah, it's not. I give it like a E because they're also losing against Brentford. I don't know. Like in terms of the Premier League, maybe like C+, but I think overall like B, just because of their other wins and other competitions. It's a good result against Nottingham Forest, but West Ham has always been a consistent Premier League team. It's just about if they want more. They're ninth place. They're only a couple back from Man U 4. So I wouldn't say it's a horrible start to the season at all. It's kind of a normal West
Well,
Ham.
nothing to celebrate. To be honest with you, being a couple points back from us, like to be blunt, we're crap. So that's nothing to be overly celebratory about. But no, you make a fair point. I think Mohamed Kudus, he scored that absolutely ridiculous goal against Brentford. Like that was mad. And one for Joe, Vladimir Kufal.
Oh, he's been brilliant. He's been amazing. He's probably been he's looked the best right back in the world recently, actually. Probably, like if Andre was talking about Eric Romero going to Real Madrid, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Real Madrid picking up Vladimir Kufal in the coming week.
Like Andre said last episode, we all got our favorite players. I got Jadon Sancho. Sagai's got Maupay. Joe's got Kufal and Raheem the Dream Sterling, and now Andre's got Sabitzer and Romero.
Where are you getting Sabitzer? Sabitzer's shit.
You were always raving about.
No. I never understood it because I think you showed me rumors and I was like, maybe, but I never thought he was him. He's not. He's Disney.
You raved about him for at least a.
I could have sworn Andre was talking about shagging Sabitzer at one point.
Oh no way!
Honestly, probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't remember ever being that excited about Sabitzer. This is the only player we were linked to.
No, but as despite the good performances from West Ham on the pitch, they're just not winning games at the moment. And what do you think? What do we think is wrong with West Ham right now? Because the performances are all right, but they're just not getting results. What do you think's the issue?
The defense.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go defense because everywhere else, whatever. Prowse, Kudus, what's his name? Who am I missing?
Alvarez in midfield as well.
Yeah, and Paqueta's been really impressive too. So I don't know. I feel like it's just defense, just individually is probably they could just use some upgrades, get a couple of class players, and they're good to go.
Fair enough. And lastly, we have Wolves looking at their running games, which, to be fair, you know what? This Wolves team is playing well. This team is playing very, very, very well. Scores and ratings for Gary O'Neill and stand-up players on a negative and positive side of things.
O'Neill's just he's doing a serious job there, and I think he deserves some credit. I'd probably give O'Neill like an 8. Obviously, what's his name's been really good. The Spanish guy,
Sarabia. His goal versus you guys was pretty amazing in my opinion. To control that ball.
Playing against Eric Dyer. You should be scoring that anyways.
That is true. Do you think
Neto's been great? Mario Lemina. I've always rated this guy, Mario Lemina. He's a good player, and Joao Gomez as well, partnering Lemina midfield has been great as well.
Oh, and then that Korean guy, Hwang, obviously has been.
I saw what you did there, that Korean guy, Hwang. But there you have it. That's all we've got. There has been season 4, episode 4.
Thank you so much for your time watching this, and let us know in the comments down below what are your thoughts on the topics that have been in store in this feature of Premier League Prime Time in the comments down below. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out our other platforms on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and wherever you are watching this in the world. We hope you have an absolutely fantastic day / evening.